All right, welcome to the 25th episode of Writing Swish, which is a Clojure-inspired Lisp for Swift. Actually, pretty much now a Clojure, given that how we're approaching the Jank Test Suite. So here's where we're at with the Jank Clojure Test Suite. We have fixed all the errors and the failures, and we have 105 skipped tests. So those are basically missing functions. So let's go over everything that we fixed here. So we fixed a bunch of stuff in the EDN read string. We added support for this style of Unicode. Swift hat, we were doing this style, which is more Swift, so I decided to use the more Clojure compatible. That's what the Jank test support anyway. We added car. We similar to what we did with Unicode, we did with Octal. We now support the inst.ms function. Also #inst with that date format. We actually have our own copy of the Jank suite because we had to add some Swish branches for the reader conditionals, and also a default branch for the inst test that uses inst.ms, which is built into all Clojure core, so everyone should be using it. Like I said before, all errors are fixed in the Jank suite. We fixed some more fixes to car. Lots of the fixes had to do with throwing when with invalid arguments. So here we're throwing when the value was greater than a Unicode character. Lots of fixes to compare for comparing symbols with keywords and namespaces. Fixes to compare, it should throw when comparing sets, maps, and lazy sequences. Fix bug when test equality for vectors and lazy sequences. Conj bang should throw after a persistent bang. Conj with no arguments should return empty vector. Equal with vector unless should work. We fix that. Contain should throw when given non-integer a key on a string. Cycle should throw when given a non-sequence. Dissoc bang should throw after a persistent bang. Dissoc disregarding metadata. We fix that. There were some fixes to the identical question mark function and sets. I'm dealing with a cold this week, so excuse me for my voice. We now have floats backed by actual float, and double is backed by a Swift double. Before we just had a float that was backed by a double. This matches more Clojure behavior. We fixed comparing regexes. We fixed the equal when comparing functions. Even in question mark and odd question mark now throw on non-integers. Float now throws when they are out of range. In other words, too large for float to read through. Fix greater than an equal and less than or equal when used with not a number. Fixed identical for maps. Symbols and bars are now callable, just like keywords. I didn't know that, but they supposedly are, I guess, with the Clojure Jank suite. We fixed the int function for strings and out of range values. When you iterate maps, that should say iterating. Now you get a map entry and you're iterating through map entries. This fixed some bugs with the key and val functions. And this is what Clojure does, so now we do that too. Keys and vals now throw for non-map arguments. We fixed the list question mark function on sequences. Min and max now handle not a number. We fixed big integer and ratio arithmetic. We fixed big decimal and double arithmetic, and those should always return a double. They weren't. We fixed mod with ratios. Mod now handles not a number infinity. Nan question mark throws for non-numerics. The nth, the 2arity version, throws for out of bounds values. We fixed the quote function to throw for nan and infinity. We fixed repeat when called with a non-integer. Int now handles booleans. Reverse now throws for non-sequences. Sequitals. R sequence throws when given nil. Fix R sequence now works on a sorted map. We fixed the equal with lazy sequences. It was only comparing the first 1,000 elements, and one of the Jank tests tested more than that, so we had to fix that. ToArray now actually returns an actual array type. It was returning a vector before. Set now throws for non-sequenceable sequences arguments. Fix sum function to return false instead of nil on some arguments. Fix string output for double infinity, big integer, and big decimal. Fix symbol, the symbol function, var ref, and qualified name. It was not returning the right namespaces and such. We fixed keyword as a function lookup on transient maps. We fixed transient to throw when called on already transient values. Fixed transient to throw for all non-persistent collection inputs. Vec on a non-sequence should throw. Fixed vec array aliasing. Now it follows JVM. Fixed the vector question mark object array returning true. So now an object array is considered a vector. Fixed a 0 question mark on not a number. As I said before, we have no errors, no fails in the Clojure core tests and all of the Jank tests now. Fixed Clojure EDN read string to throw. When it was giving invalid tokens. Fixed it to throw on duplicate map keys. The normal read string does not do that, so a little bit of different behavior there. We fixed tag literals parsing to reject invalid dates. We fixed identical question mark for UIDs. We added a Swish branch on the suite for that. Because UIDs in Swish are values, and so they're not identical, much like all the other Clojure dialects. Only JVM treats them as identical, if I remember correctly. We fixed the discard reader macro to throw when there's no following element. We added the Clojure string reverse function, and as I said, no errors or fails in the entire Jank suite, but still we have 105 skips. So going forward, I will continue to work on implementing those skips, and if you want to see what some of them are, let's go ahead and do that. Just a bunch of functions missing mainly, so here we go. Bit functions, Boolean functions, empty. Protocols, we're going to have to implement protocols. So multi-methods, we'll have to implement that. We've got, thought we had records, so I'm not sure why that's skipping. But there we go. So that's where we are. That's where we're going. Again, please like and comment below. Buy me a coffee, support my work. Let me know what you think about all this. One thought I've been having is we're awfully closely following the JVM style Clojure, and I've been thinking maybe we should have a more lightweight version that's more tailored to Swift. And I'm kind of leaning that way. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but let me know what your thoughts are. But I'm going to continue to go and get the Clojure Jank test to pass completely, and then we'll go from there. So until next time, thank you.